What's up, dudes? Welcome back. So on today's video, I am going to be working on restoring this entire rear subframe. And it's not really going to be too much work. I'm not going to do a complete restore on it. I mean, I've seen people do a complete sandblast and powder coat everything, but I think with this type of restoration that I'm doing, I'm not really going 100%. I am just going to be running this through some water, cleaning everything up, degreasing it, and taking off all of that surface rust right there. It's really not too much, but I'm gonna end up repainting this entire thing and put some nice new parts on it, and we will get to that in a bit. Okay, subframe is here in the grass, and I have my degreaser and my hose, and I hope I don't just kill my grass. So I'm gonna be cleaning all of this here. Let's see how it looks after. Hey, rear subframe is now completely washed and cleaned. I used the degreaser over here with this steel wire brush to get like the heavy grease that's been caked on there. And then after I scrubbed everything down, I used my car washing bucket and scrubbed everything so that there's no more like oils and leftover grease and everything. So I'm gonna let that dry for a bit, and when I'm ready, I will get it prepped for paint. Rear subframe is now dried up, so I am going to be ready to get this painted. I'm going to use this black here that I have left over, and the plan is to do like several layers on the top side, let that dry up, and then I'll flip it upside down to do the bottom side, because the bottom technically is going to be the part that you would see if you were to look underneath the car. So I want to make sure the underside of it has the better paint. I just remembered that when I first lowered the car, I actually made these scribe lines here indicating where the spring plate lands when it's all installed. So this bottom one here is the stock height. This one is the first notch down, and this is the second notch down. I mean, up, or whatever. So since I'm gonna be repainting this, I don't wanna lose these marks. So hopefully I can make like some notches right here using this saw, and hopefully I don't lose these. I don't think that's gonna be hidden too much when I actually paint this, because I think the scribe lines here, they're not deep enough, but these definitely are. So we should be good. I'm gonna do the other side and then I'll get ready to paint. Alright, subframe is now completely painted. I did a few coats on both top and bottom side. So I'm gonna let this dry out here in my backyard. I think overnight, maybe at least until tomorrow, so that the sun kind of bakes it here in my backyard. Up next are gonna be restoring the spring plates, and what I ended up getting here are these adjustable spring plates and the shorter tension rods. These ones here are my stock spring plates and my stock tension rods, and you can actually see the difference in these two, and this one's much shorter than the stock one that I have. Longer stock one here is 24 and 11/16 from end all the way to the other end, whereas the shorter one here is 21 and 3/4. And the reason why I needed a shorter one is because you can see right here the comparison in the driver's side here is much longer than this. So basically this goes like that all the way through, but because this is much shorter, we actually need the shorter rod that goes just like that here. And then I've also verified that all the splines are the same amount of splines. So here, let me see, this is the outer and it's 44 splines, and the inner has 40 splines. And you can actually tell the difference in inner and outer. Here on the outer it says R for right side, and then on the other side here is L for left. L and R are gonna go on the outside, and on the inside is gonna be some other stuff here like 7, 8, N, and VW, or I think that's a VW, or is it just W? I don't know. I really don't know what those mean, but L and R for left and right, and it's the same thing over here, except this one says 5, 5, G, and this something else. I don't know, it's kind of gunked up. But you can see here it's L and R on the outside, and it actually says VW on it too. Another thing is these are the type 3 ones, these are type 1. I believe these are a tiny bit thicker than the type 1s. I need to grab my caliper, I don't know where it is, but you can almost kind of see with the naked eye that this is a tiny bit thicker than this, which probably means that this has a higher spring rate for the extra weight on the Squareback compared to a bug where it doesn't really have that much weight. Since I'm going to be using these ones for the type 1, it may be a little bit, I don't know, maybe bouncier or something. I was recommended to use like a heavier shock in the back, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes, and if I need to replace the shock, I could just do that pretty easily in the future. They look like they're in okay shape. I mean, the guy I got it from said that he ran them on his bug, and he says he thinks he ran it on his fastback, but I really don't know at this point. But they should just bolt right up. It doesn't look too bad. I think I'm gonna just like clean everything up similar to the subframe and then repaint everything. This one here I've already twisted just to make sure it's not seized, so I'll take that out and clean that up. And then I also got new bushings that are all in that bag there that I picked up from ISP West. I'm gonna probably run these through a wire wheel and a power drill. Same thing with all of these splines here. I'll clean them all up here and there. This stuff I'll probably just clean up. I'm not gonna bother painting any of this stuff because that's just gonna remain red like that. But this, and this needs to get all cleaned up and repainted. So those spring plates are now drying up in the sun. I worked on cleaning up some of these splines here. When I got them, they were a little bit rusted on the inside, and I tried using that steel wire brush, but it just wasn't penetrating, so I ended up using a pick and just going through every single spline and getting all that out of the way. So these are nice and clean. These rubbers here were a little bit confusing, and you can see the two different kinds here. These two are from ISP West. These are the inner ones, part number ending in 245, and the outers are supposed to be ending in 246. So for my specific swing axle year, the 245s are the two inners and 246s are both outers. Now, these two came from my brother's Gia because he ended up buying a whole set, and it turns out the 245s actually are the outers for his Carmen Gia, and then his inners, he ended up using some polyurethane ones or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, he ended up with two extra 246s right there. And I just bought the 245s. So this should complete the entire set for both inners, outers, driver, and passenger side for my specific year. So the paint on these spring plates are now dry. I'm just gonna start removing these masking tape here. It's like unboxing a present, but yeah, it looks really good. I didn't want to paint this stuff here because that's where the rubber bushings go onto. And then the same thing here on the inner and outside, because this one needs to be able to slide in there. And then this one has the rubber bushing also. I'm thinking actually if it's normal for people to put like grease or some kind of like lubricant in here before sliding it in. I had asked a few people around for information on the outer and inner here with the rubber bushings, but apparently with the rubber ones, you don't want to put any kind of lubricant because I guess from factory they didn't. So I'm probably not going to do it out here, but I think I'm going to put it here. So the 245s are going to be on the inside. So they're going to go here and here. And then the 246s are gonna go on the outside. So we're gonna work on the driver's side first. So we're gonna look for the end that says L on it, which is right here. L for left side, driver's side. And I actually don't know what orientation this needs to go inside there, but since I'm gonna have my adjustable spring plates, then regardless what angle this is, I could always adjust this to however I like. And I think what I'm gonna do is kind of put it in the middle of where the adjustment goes here, so I can line that up with where I had it before. That way I can kind of be around the same ballpark as my original suspension, and I still have room to go up and down if I need to. So this is just gonna go whichever way I feel. I don't know, right here there's like an extra tab here at the top, so I don't know if that's like a locating spline or something. And it's the same thing on the outer as well, exactly on the opposite side of it, just like here there's like a tab. So I don't know, maybe, oh, actually it's on the other side too. Oh, interesting, it's on both top and bottom. So I think I'm probably gonna put the inner as top and bottom, I would assume, instead of side to side. I don't know. I'm probably just gonna hammer it in and then, well, not hammer, mallet, and then take it out to see if I still can take it out. Yeah, I guess it seems like it's in and I still can take it out. So yeah, I'm just gonna shove this in. Of course, it may be obvious I don't know what I'm doing, so if I'm doing this wrong, whatever. Then the rubber goes in. So I guess this could, I don't know, whatever. I'm just gonna shove this in and hopefully it's clocked at the right angle, I guess. I don't know. Okay, that wasn't too bad. I was able to kind of manhandle it in there. Look at this dude struggling on the side. So I realized that it's actually a whole lot easier if I have the subframe standing up like this. That way I can get this lined up and looking at it like this instead of like on the ground like what I was doing earlier, which I guess technically is what you're doing when you're doing it on the car, but I don't know, if you can do it easier with the subframe off and standing, definitely do it like this. So what I've done here is I've lined it up to this scribe that I put here and that little saw mark that I cut. That way this is as close to the original suspension height that I had before, and then I will kind of set that screw so that it still has adjustment going up and down. So I wasn't going to include this in the video, but basically the caps that hold this in place here, I was going to clean it up. I put them here in the Chem Dip carburetor parts cleaner, but look at how clean it really got it. It peeled off all of the old paint, maybe a bunch of the old grime and everything. So I'm going to take these out, repaint them, and then get them so that they can install here. This probably is not the best for my grass, but it will grow back, right? I don't know, you tell me. I'm not a, what are they called? Plantologist. Wow, I'm actually really surprised with how well that worked. I just used this Berryman Chem, or let me see. No, the other one is Chem Dip or something like that. Or I don't know, I'm tripping. Yeah, Berryman Chem Dip carburetor parts cleaner. And I had it left in here for like a couple days. I was really just trying to clean up a bunch of the gunk, but it took off all the paint, which is really helpful because I will be repainting these. In the meantime, I'm going to install these rubbers, and I believe it's the bigger end in. Okay, this one was surprisingly easy. I think because the diameter of this one's closer to stock compared to the one inside. All right, Buddy William is here with his Gia, and he's just working on switching out his distributor. But these are all completely dry now. Should be okay to bolt them in. I think this is the hardware that originally I put in here, and they're kind of short because it doesn't necessarily need to like go all the way through, but it can. The trick to install these ones here is to get extra long hardware, because once you put this down here, all of this needs to basically be like squished down, and it's impossible to push that in using the stock length hardware. So I have this bolt and this washer here, and that will go right here and thread all the way through on all four. So I'm going to use this so that I can tighten this. This will go all the way down, and then I'll take them off one by one and then replace it with the stock length ones. And here is the completed rear subframe fully restored. And I know I ended that last clip a little bit abrupt because one side is pretty much the same as the other, so I didn't really bother recording that. Overall, it looks really good. I wire wheeled these things finally, and I cleaned the hole up, and then I just kind of installed it there. I lined these up to exactly where the last scribe line was on both sides, right there. At least I have adjustability to go up and down if or when I want to adjust that height. So I think that's going to be pretty good. All of the hardware here, these were all brand new when I first kind of took this apart before. I mean, I didn't really take this off, but I had the transmission out, so at that time I replaced all of the hardware. You can see all that's new. I decided to get some brand new split washers because while I was taking these out, they kind of looked a little bit worn, so that's all gonna get replaced. Now, the last thing are gonna be these bushings here, and I just wanted to show the old ones that came off of the car that actually looks pretty good. I mean, it's still pretty like malleable. It's not like rock hard or anything. So, I mean, these are the original to the car, which is pretty good, but since I have everything out, I might as well just get all brand new stuff. So all of this is from ISP West, and you can see the quality is really, really good. And I'm really excited to put this on. And this plate here, I'm not really gonna film restoring this, but I am gonna clean this up before I put this onto the car. Pretty excited to get this finally done. This is gonna be ready to go back into the car, and then the transmission down right there will hop right onto this subframe once it's installed, and then I'll get the engine going. So I should get this car out hopefully in the next few weeks or so. Thanks, guys.